Hello and welcome to Hard Way Learning, where we look stupid so you don't have to. Today we are working on this 2015 Subaru WRX. It does not go into gear, so we are assuming that the is failed based on the smells and the noises that it makes. So yeah, we're gonna have to pull the trans on this thing. I do want to check to make sure that it's not the master or slave, but let's start up and see, confirm, see if we can see what we have going on here. So this car came with aftermarket stuff. Looks like we got charge pipes, intercooler, pod filter. It had a Cobb access port on it. Kind of should be the same process for all of these cars. Pull the intercooler off so that we have access to kind of the top of the transmission area real quickly. All right, it's 13mm bolt here. 2 12s over here. I think they're all 12s. Take the charge couplers off, 8mm. Alright, so now, well, we're going to quickly disconnect the battery. 10mm. Alright, we're going to disconnect some harnesses. There's one, there's two, three. Alright, then we just gotta pinch this guy off somehow. Jeez, that thing's really just hanging in there. Alright, harnesses pushed aside. I'm going to get the slave off. Two 14mm. Got a ground strap here and a starter. Ground strap is a 12. Alright. So now I think we gotta remove the pitch stop, which is 14 on one side, maybe 16 or 17 on the other. Back here as well. Alright, that might just be about everything we do from up top. Alright, now before we get too far, we gotta make sure we mark our camber eccentric bolts. So I scratched it here. I don't know if you can see that, but right on this line. Alright, we got 19mm on each side. You want to use the impact on the nut side so that you don't spin the crap out of your eccentric. We're going to disconnect the brake line from over here as well. Remove the axle nut, which is 1.25 inches. released out of there. I was able to just push down on the control arm and kind of pull this out of the hub. Now we'll go under the car and remove it from the trans, but first we got to drop our transmission fluid. Alright, we'll need a T70 for this. Just drop the transmission fluid. Oh, I thought I was safe where I was. That really eated on me. Very nice. Now we just gotta pop our axles out of the trans. It's a lot easier than I expected, to be completely honest with you. You don't want to mix your left and rights up because if you... we're going to remove the 4 12mm bolts for this heat shield that protects the drive shaft. I have to sneak a wrench behind that one. Should have probably done this one first. Replaced bolt. Okay, so now we're at the rear differential where the drive shaft is bolted to it. These are balanced shafts, so this mark was here and I just made a pen mark the rest of the way through to make sure that this gets mounted with this in the right spot. In theory, if it's all balanced, in my head it doesn't make sense that it would need to line up with this in a certain position because it's really the shaft itself that should be balanced. But anywho's, we're gonna just take the extra precaution. These are 4 12mm nuts, so we will crack them all loose and remove them, and then we'll have to disable the e-brake to get the top one. Chill there for now, because we gotta get that guy out. Alright, the center carrier bearing thing has 2 14mm bolts. So we're gonna yeet those off real quickly like. Gotta get this plate off to get at the shifter cable. There's an E-clip right there. Just like that. There's 2 14mm bolts holding the starter in. Looks like a 12. Alright, just real quickly here, these two, I think they're 12 or 13mm bolts were tied to the upper clutch cable, so I disconnected those and just put them back in so I don't lose them. So now the upper clutch cable is loose. Now I think we start taking off mounts. Oh, that stuff. So that's cool. 14 millimeter for the exhaust hanger. So these are all 14s. I don't think you can really see it, but there's two 12 millimeter bolts holding this bracket to the back of the transmission. We're gonna bust those off quick. There's about 14 millimeters on each side of the bell housing. So we'll get 1, 2, 3, 4 off on this side and do the same on the other side. Although it looks like the starter, yeah, so the starter was 2 on the left and there's 2 more down low. So we'll crack these guys. Start pulling our mounts off, but we're gonna sneak the jack under here. Alright, so these are 14s, 14, 14, 15. I think I'm gonna leave these in. Let's see what happens. Those are 16? 17. We're gonna roll the old floor jack underneath the front of the trans. Just buy a transmission jack. This pinned my arm to the ground. I had my girlfriend out here. She had to pry it off me with a crowbar. Yeah, basically the trick is the dowels are gonna get stuck. I thwacked at them a little bit and then had her come in from the wheel well. It was my driver's side one that was stuck, and she pried on that while I jiggled it from underneath and then slowly lowered it onto my body, rolled it to the side, and then I got stuck and she had to pry it off. So now we've got a few 10 millimeter bolts to yoink off. I've got an impact, otherwise you can pin the flywheel. Oh yeah. Every gear is neutral. Wow. Wow, wow, wee, wow. Oh wow, the throw up bearing's trash too. Or pilot bearing. 14. Hey. Now, if you're not replacing your clutch or your flywheel, you should have this resurfaced. We're replacing this flywheel because it just makes life a little easier. You don't have to bring it somewhere and get it resurfaced. I don't even know if this has such a deep groove on it. I don't even know if you really could reuse it. All right, this only goes on one way. Teeth facing the block. There's a dot where it goes on, like so. B faces out to you. And it's like the rear main's starting to fail a little bit, so we'll pull that off as well and replace it. Alright, to get the rear main seal out, what I did was drilled a 3/32 hole very, 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 very carefully. Too deep, just enough to get through that first layer of metal. And then put a number 6. This is either a number 6 or a number 8. Screw in, not too far, because you don't want it to go past the walls in here. And then use the old hammer and very carefully pry it out like this, right off the crank, like that. And you're gonna wanna keep your old seal because we'll use it to start the new rear main seal, all right? All right, kids, we're putting our rear main on. We've got our old one here. We're gonna use that to mount, use a rubber mallet to pound the new one in. And that one in. Kind of hop skipping around a little bit. So we got our crankshaft position sensor wheel on there. There's a little nub for an alignment, and the B faces out, so the teeth face in, because your crankshaft position sensor is back here, facing that way on the block. We cleaned this off as best we could with some brake clean. It still kind of leaves a weird kind of residue, but there's no grease on here that I can feel, so that's good. Now we're gonna do 2 stages on the flywheel bolts. First stage is 30 Newton meters, and it's kind of a star pattern. 3, 6. All right, so our second phase, we've got a little stopper here with this flat chisel in between the block and the flywheel teeth. 55 foot-pounds is our phase 2, so I did boom, 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 boom. Kind of a star pattern as best you can. 55, stay alive, 55 foot-pounds. All right, people. We've got our pressure plate here. We've got our Exedy Stage 1 clutch and our alignment tool here, holding everything in place. Cleaning off the mating surface of the pressure plate. Put that up here, and there's little dowel pin thingies, I think, that kind of hold this hoss to the flywheel somewhere. No, not that. I think that. There we go. Now we want to make sure this guy comes in and out nice and easy like that, all right? Now we're gonna start finger tightening our pressure plate bolts, which are a 10 mil, and Dan's gonna let us know what the torque spec is for those baggies. He's busy fiddling his diddling. 25 foot-pounds, star pattern, that biznitch. And you wanna make sure that as you're tightening it, this still slides in and out real easy. That's what's going to ensure your clutch plate is in the right spot when you go to insert the transmission. So as you can see, that comes in and out real easy, and I'm just making sure we've got all of these tight. All right, here's our pilot bearing. You just kind of tip it forward. It comes off of there, and then we're gonna clean up this guy as well because it has a bunch of dead clutch material, so we'll clean all that off. You want to make sure this is nice and clean as well, so we'll clean that off and re-grease it, because that'll make installing the old transmission into the clutch assembly a little more straightforward. Is that really all that? Want to make sure your clutch slides on and off nice and easy. Well, I can't really tell without the trans on, so we'll see if it goes in, and if it doesn't, we'll have to clearance it. Might have to switch. Well, we got to get another inch above this subframe.
What's it resting on where your hand is? Do we wedge a block in there or something to get more angle on it, or does that make it slide towards me? Because I'm just gonna start wedging it up into this pipe in the body of the car in about half a second.
Well, I pushed it. That pipe's pretty stiff up here.
We either got to figure out a way to get more angle on it on this
stand. Take the pipe off.
I mean,
we gotta get it straight on eventually. You want to keep going up a little bit, and then we can sneak forward, or maybe you can sneak forward now. Push it forward, push it forward, push it forward. Okay. Hold up. Just watch this hanger over here. For a little kitty wampus. Alright, maybe a little more. Okay, a little more. What good back there? Because you can come forward, I think, a little.
It looks like I'm hitting on the bottom right of that, on the subframe. Okay. But that's okay.
Yeah, I can... Alright, hold up there for a sec. Now I feel like it's going to be kind of from back there, getting it onto these bottom bolts.
I can keep going up now. I got past the...
Okay.
It was getting this body in.
Alright.
So, we could either try and realign it on the stand there and continue going up, or I think we might want to make sure that all of our cables and stuff are aligned where they need to be before we tighten up anything up there anymore?
Well, all that kind of has a good amount of wiggle room.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to come up a little more?
Okay, or no?
Yeah, with a couple hits. Can you get the RSN towards the driver's side?
No, because it's kind of resting against this exhaust.
Okay, and then would you clear it if you came up a little? We are kind of on the first stud.
Like, just...
Yeah. All right. Need the RSN to come up more.
Yeah, I just don't know how to do that easily right
Can we get the strap off and then just push it up? Because you're resting, like you should be able to teeter it now. Okay. Now just push.
You're okay with me trying to send it up?
Yeah, slowly. Okay. A little more. Okay. A little more. Okay, a little more.
I feel like I'm hitting something now. I'm not sure though.
Now, I feel like if you can just push it on with your hand.
Push it towards you?
Yeah. Like both of the lower studs are on, it's just the transmission's, the back needs to come up.
Let me try and...
Alright.
So, let me just try and heat this up again a little bit. Not... Are we at... I don't know if it's at the max extension.
You gotta jiggle her forward. Arson first. There, ooh, closer. Alright. Okay. Alright. We are almost, yeah, we got the top bolt started, alright. Hold it, if you can hold it up like that.
Yeah.
Alright. So, you just kind of reassemble it now. That's reverse of what you did. This is the hardest part, getting the trans mated. We somehow magically got that on pretty easy. Now we're just putting all the bracing back in, and we'll torque everything and look up a freaking torque spec. That's what we do. We just Google it. That's it. That's all I got. Break in your clutch.